All right. First off, I want to say hello, Ashley, and thank you so much for agreeing to come talk to me about your film. I'm Benjamin Welch, representative for HHB Media, and just want to have a nice little talk with you. So first off, I would like if you would tell everyone your name and what your film is, and just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, wanted to start out by saying thank you both so much for including our film in the festival. We're so excited. This will be our first film festival. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And so I'm Ashley Glass. I also have a co-director, Deasa Dorsey, which she'll be on the panel later on in the weekend. But so I am a registered nurse. I am also a public health professional, and I love documentaries. I love watching them. I love building relationship with people. And we wanted to capture kind of the story of Black nurses. And so recently I graduated from nursing school. And I had met Deasa back when I had started nursing school back in 2005. I actually did not get into nursing college at that point, but recently reconnected with Deasa and shared with her some of the challenges I face as a Black nursing student, just trying to get the degree and everything of that nature. And she was actually a professor at a nursing school, so she not only experienced it personally, but also seen it on the academic level too as a
Yeah.
professor. And so I told her, why not? Why don't we just create a documentary sharing our story? Because if you're not in the nursing profession, you probably had no idea that we experience racism as students as well as once we graduate. And so we know nursing is very close knit. It's very hush hush. This has been going on for years. So in our documentary, we interviewed an 100-year-old nurse, and some of the same things she experienced in nursing school, we still experience it today. So this is something that's been going on for years. And so we want people to hear about this and see our film, and so they can advocate not only nurses who are in the profession, but people outside of the profession too. And so that's why we wanted to get it on the main screen and kind of just share our story and give people voice to what they're experiencing.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, no, I from my little knowledge of nursing and everything, I was aware of, in the past, obviously things are a lot harder for Black people in professions and stuff. But definitely watching your film, there were a lot of things that I was like, I would have had no idea that things like this were still going on. And fortunately, that is the way a lot of things are, unless our people like us are out there making people aware of it, no one else is gonna, make people aware of it. So that's an
Yeah.
awesome thing you're doing. Obviously, going through nursing and everything, you focus on those struggles that nurses deal with and that you've had to deal with. But let me ask you, did you face any issues while filming this documentary related to that like instance? And if you feel comfortable speaking, like what issues or trials did you have to go through while filming this documentary?
I'd say the biggest thing is some people we wanted to capture their story, but they were either it was so traumatic they didn't feel comfortable sharing it, or we highlight a student story and we literally had to conceal her identity because that's
Mhm.
how serious it is. And even in the filming process, I was actually a student. I hadn't graduated yet. So we also were mindful of that and wanted to release it after I graduated so that they
Mhm.
couldn't come back and potentially,
Yeah.
have I wouldn't have been able to finish. So we had to think about things like that. Just because we've seen, professors kind of subjectively give out um, worse scores or um, just treat students differently than others. And again, like I said, since it's so close knit, even if you report it, usually nothing happens, to be totally honest with you. And so we just had to be mindful of how we displayed people's stories. People were also a little on edge about, how is this going to affect me in my career and that sort of thing too. And so, like I said, just being mindful of people actually putting themselves out there. This is a really sensitive topic. We did provide mental health support for people who were interviewed, just because we know a lot of these stories were traumatic to people as well. And so those were like the biggest challenges
Mhm.
that we had to navigate, but we didn't have any issues outside of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For any other potential Black nurses that are watching this interview, what is one thing that one advice you would give them, having graduated nursing school and everything? One of the biggest things that stood out in the film to me was a young lady said the moment she started struggling, it gave her a withdrawal letter, you know?
Yeah.
And that can't like that's never happened to me, but I know if it did, it would be so demoralizing for me, and I couldn't even imagine how it made her feel. So, for any Black nurses that might be watching this, what is a word of advice you would tell them to keep them moving as they're going through their career?
Just to keep going and definitely connect with some mentors that have, finished school and can teach you how to navigate those barriers. Being a nursing student, everything's based on a test, which to me fundamentally is not good because those tests are not culturally competent. And you see a lot of students of color struggling on those tests because we can't the way they're worded and some of the language that they use doesn't match up what
Hmm.
we see in the real world or even what we're taught in the classroom. So you have to go on these. Um, I always tell people when you take nursing tests and even our certification tests, you have to go in this world that is a perfect world. Forget everything that you've learned in the classroom, forget everything that you've learned on the job, and answer these questions in like the perfect environment, which that's hard to do sometimes, especially if you're working while you're in school and you actually see what's going on in the real world. It doesn't match up. The most important advice would be not to give up. It took me, I started nursing school in 2005. I didn't graduate till 2013. So 14 years to
Hmm.
get my degree. And so I would say just don't give up, no matter how long it takes. Don't worry about what's the name of the school it is that you graduate from, or, if you don't do good on a test, keep going. Don't listen to those advisors that tell you, oh, if you don't have the right support system, you shouldn't enroll in this program. There's so many obstacles that they put there to try to make you feel like you're not worthy enough to go through these programs. But my best advice would be if this is what you truly want to do, please stay the course. And it's so rewarding in the end. Once you're done, nobody can take that away from you. And it's one of the best career choices I've ever made. So, yeah,
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Ashley.
no problem.
Well, with that, just have one more question for you.
Mhm.
If you don't mind, if you could tell the people any future productions or any future works that you're working on and where they can get in contact with you.
Sure. So right now I'm working on another short documentary. So I'm passionate about nursing, but my specialty area that I work in is behavioral health. I'm actually a corrections nurse. And
Mhm.
so I do a lot of work in the community on just recruiting diversity in the behavioral health profession too. So we're working on a short doc on the importance of diversity in behavioral health too as well. So that'll be released this summer. Probably we'll just go on our YouTube, which is Black Women Cultivating Change is our organization name. But we also have some short docs on there too. We did a project on Black fatherhood, so would like to direct people to our YouTube page anyway, because we highlighted all the positive aspects of Black fatherhood. A lot of times you see negative portrayal of Black men. And we wanted to highlight there are Black men out here doing an amazing job and they're present in their kids' lives. So we do have that short doc available. And then um, my first documentary, which I will say is not the best quality, but you can see kind of the progression,
Mhm.
is it was called Boss, and it's just stands for Bravely Overcoming Self-Sabotage. And I interviewed some ladies here in the area that I started my career who were mentors to me, and they shared their story on how they overcame imposter syndrome. And you can find that on our YouTube page as well. So would like to direct people to our YouTube page to learn more about our organization and also see some of
Mhm.
our prior films too.
And if you don't mind, say your YouTube channel again.
It's called Black Women Cultivating Change. Mhm.
Awesome, awesome. Any Instagram connections or anything?
Yeah, so we're on all social media platforms too. So, well, except for TikTok, we need to get on there. But haven't got creative enough to get on there. My kids are on there. But
That
anywho,
happens.
we're on Facebook, Instagram, and even LinkedIn. So it's still Black Women Cultivating Change on all of them. And you can like, follow our page and see updates and different things like that for future projects.
Awesome,
Also
awesome.
wanted to shout out Black Nurse Network. My co-director, DA Dorsey, she is a co-founder of that organization. So they have a lot of resources too for Black nurses, excuse me, as well. And they are on Instagram and Facebook as well as too.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ashley, again for taking this time out of your day to connect with me. And if you don't have any other questions for me, I just want to say I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.